I'd had my therapy. I was still positive I wanted to do something and change my lifestyle, and I was overweight, I had high blood pressure, I had type 2 diabetes, all at the same time, and now this serious prostate cancer. And I thought, I've got to do something about this. My weight had got to the point where I knew I was obese, I had the diabetes and high blood pressure, and I thought, I can't actually put my socks on properly without gasping for breath because I was bending over and I couldn't tie my shoelaces. I thought, this is not right. This should not be happening to me. I got diagnosed with pelvic radiation disease. I got involved with the Pelvic Radiation Disease Association and became a trustee, helping other patients cope with their therapy. And it was from that I decided I was going to run a charity race to raise money for them. So I decided to do the Manchester 10K run. And so I started running on my own around the park. The park is 500 metres around the lake. I've been in that park since I was a little boy, so it was very comforting. And I think that was quite important, to go somewhere familiar and comforting, and I could think and work things out. And my wife and I had spent a lot of time in that park all through our courting and married life, and all our big decisions had been made walking around that park. So that's where I went. And I couldn't get round this park in one go. I couldn't. I had to stop and walk 2 or 3 times just going around this lake. And my brother-in-law said, well, if you want a free place, I know a man who got a running club that they're under the council running. If you go there and have 10 sessions with him, you'll get a free place. I could not run between 2 lampposts without gasping and but it was a great club. I suddenly found why my daughter liked running so much, and it wasn't the running, because everybody hates the running bit. It was the social bit and the fact that everybody was in the same boat and everybody was so friendly and welcoming, and Steve and the other leaders. And they never left anybody behind. It was a bit like the Marines, you know, we never leave a man behind. And they always had somebody at the back. And I was always at the back. And I started to run and I hated it. It was horrible. And I also started to try and diet to get my weight down. And my weight did start to come down and then plateaued, but that was the hormone effect. But I did lose 1.5 stone simply by changing my diet to a sort of Mediterranean style. The running, I got to the first 10K with Steve and the group, and I'll always remember that day. It was a magical day because all the charities were there and all the runners were supporting, and it was a magical time when we ran this race. And I ran and I walked and I ran and I walked. And when I came in, the buzz of the crowd, the shouting and the cheering, and all the group had waited. They hadn't gone off. They were all there on the finish line cheering. And I got such a buzz out of it. I thought, yeah, I like this. And I got hooked a little bit on that. So I stayed with the club and I trained more. I wanted to go because the people were really friendly and I could have a bit of banter with them. And they were replacing this gap I had because I wasn't working. And so they filled that hole as well. I was running and running, and I realised I'd got to 3K and I hadn't stopped. Nearly 2 miles, and I had not stopped running. Yet 6 months earlier, I couldn't run between 2 lampposts. And I thought, this is good, this is good. And that's really what started it. So I started running regularly and swimming more, and I felt wonderful. I didn't feel as depressed as I did before. I had something to lock onto, something I could positively say, that's mine. And I've got my friends and I'm doing it with my friends. And it's good for me. I know it's good for me. And that made me feel good. I was doing something positive, which I knew, both as a scientist and as a patient, was good. I was tackling my cancer. Because I can't do anything about it. Other people have to do that. But I could by running. It was me doing something for myself. So I was off beta blockers. My blood pressure had gone down. My doctor had checked my diabetes status and he said, you know what, I don't think you're diabetic anymore. And they pulled me off my medication, my metformin, and it didn't shoot up. So I was still pre-diabetic. I wasn't normal, which is fair enough, but I was down on that. My blood pressure was down, my weight was down. I was feeling really, really good. And I kept that going, and that with the diet really made a big impact on me. Then I started on upper body work because I read about it and I knew about Surrey University's program. So I got in touch with Sarah Faithfull, and again my weight came down. I started doing exercise specifically for upper body stuff. So it's funny. I went on the Beat system, which is a system where, certainly in Manchester, you can get prescription exercise. So you get reduced membership to encourage you to go. You have to stay with the program, and they work out a program for you, and they measure your BMI, your hip, waist, weight, everything. And it worked. Again, my weight went down, and my BMI went down, my waist and hip measurements went down. You know, it did what it said on the packet. It really did. The psychological aspect of doing a bit of physical exercise is really good. You know, I used to be on antidepressants because of the side effects of the hormone therapy, because I was crying and weeping all over the place. But, you know, the running itself is a really good antidepressant. And it gets you out the house, it gets you in the fresh air, and you can't beat it. You don't have to be a speed runner, and God knows I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm toddling along at the back. But it's fun. We haven't covered the white elephant in the room with prostate cancer, which is erectile dysfunction. And that does happen virtually with all men who have prostate cancer for a variety of reasons. And I didn't escape that. I thought I did at first, but after the radiotherapy, I mean, it's not a picnic with that one. But what I also found with that is, again, the physical exercise, particularly running, improved that. Psychologically, I'm a different person in a different place now. You know, my PSA dropped to non-detectable, my diabetes, as I say, I'm not diabetic, I'm pre-diabetic, let's be realistic. Blood pressure's down, everything's normalising, and my weight's down. It's still a way to go. And I feel in control now of my health as much as I can be. I would say to other people, give it a go, but you have to give it 3 months. People who go to the gym or go running or anything like that, cycling, for a couple of weeks and give it up are not being fair to themselves, because to get physically fit, as I found time and time again, it takes about 3 months to really see the big difference, where you're comfortable with it, relaxed with it, and you're not panting for breath, and you're ready to push yourself. In the first few weeks, it's just agony. You just have to do it. But no, it's going to be better. So keep going with it, keep going. It'll benefit you, you know, why not? I'm very positive because I know I've made life-changing decisions with my lifestyle. It is a way of life now for me. I want to go running, I want to go to the gym. I don't always like it, but I do it. And I look forward to it. And if I don't run, I get a bit uptight because I haven't run, because I know how effective that's going to be for me. And I just want to keep it on. And I worry now if I don't do enough exercise. It's strange because when you make these lifestyle decisions and you do change your life, actually if you go and pig out on a curry, or you have a weekend of, you know, pie and chips, you actually feel poisoned. It's amazing if you change your diet to a very good healthy diet and you're not hungry. No way are you hungry. If you go back to high fat, high carb stuff, you actually feel bloated and you don't feel very well. And that sort of says, wow, I don't really like this. And so the trick is to stop doing that, but look forward to a pig out. Why not? You know, you look forward to your curry night and a few pints of lager or the party. You just become sensible. It doesn't spoil you. You'd think it would spoil you, and people say, oh, I couldn't do that. But you can. And it's better because it's more rewarding to go and have a night out with a good, you know, dinner out and not worry about anything. And I don't worry about eating too much. Before, I always used to worry about eating the wrong foods because I was. Now I don't, because I know what to do and I do it. You have probably very little control over what's happening. That's in the hands of the professionals. But what you can do is make your life better for you. So first of all, be positive about that. Life is for living. Secondly, get yourself out and about. If you're not in a club, join clubs, because it gives you friends. They're not deep, lifelong friends, but they're more people. The more people you can associate with, the more normal your life will become, or appear to become. And you'll get a lot of benefit from that. It'll make you feel good. No matter how depressed you are, you go in a crowd and start chatting to people. There's always somebody who'll crack a joke, and there's always somebody who'll pat you on the shoulder. So don't be alone, be a group. Perseverance. It's not a one-day wonder. You have to work at it, but you have to want to work at it. And so the reward, although you can't see it, you will feel it eventually. And so in the way that you might say, I'll do the lottery for 6 months, and if I don't win $1 million, I'll stop doing it. Fine. If you're prepared to do that, then do exercise for 6 months and see if it makes a difference. And I guarantee it will. You won't win the lottery necessarily, but you will win life's lottery. And you will feel better, and you will feel healthier.